We're going to talk about 5 habits that make a great foster carer. Hello, welcome. My name is Sarah and I am a solo short-term foster carer, and I think I'm a pretty great one. And so I'm going to let you know what I think is a great one. No, I'm joking. I do think I'm a good foster carer, but anyway, that's beside the point. We're going to talk about 5 things that I think make a really good foster carer. If you are a foster carer or you're thinking about becoming a foster carer, I share on this channel all about my journey as a foster carer, my own experiences. I hope to offer some advice, some insights into what it is actually like being a foster carer. And so subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into today's video. I'm gonna talk about daily diaries as the first habit that I think makes a good foster carer, because I just want to get out of the way. Let's be honest, if you don't know about diaries, as a foster carer, you might not have to do them daily, but generally we do them daily. Like, talk to your own social worker about what you need to do, but generally, like, I do them daily when I have children, about what is going on, their sort of reactions to any contact they have, things that maybe are going on in school. I have a video talking about what to put in a daily diary. I will put it up there so you can take a look if you want to. But daily diaries are a thing that you have to do as a foster carer, and it's a thing that people, like, I say they, I am one of them, foster carers complain about all the time, and it drives me insane, this sort of constant complaining about it, because it's a part of what we have to do. We hate, let's be real, right? We hate writing them. I think social workers hate reading them. They're a thing that, they're just part of it. No one likes them. Let's be real, no one likes daily diaries, but they are really helpful to show patterns of behaviour within children. For example, you know, if their behaviour surrounding a certain family member, like after they see them is really quite negative, or that, you know, maybe they're destructive or something when they come back, or withdrawn, or however it may be, but with other family members they're fine, and it shows that pattern, and that's important for proceedings, to, you know, to show that this child behaves in these ways when they see that person. It's also important to remember that these are records, these diaries that you write, that, you know, at the end of the day you can't be bothered to do them. You just can't. It's like, fostering's hard work, and then have to write every day this like little thing about what's been going on. It's just something that's a pain. It just is. There's no getting away from that. But you've got to remember that these are records that will go in like this child's folder. Say they are adopted, and in the future when they become an adult, they want to go back and find out more, and they want to see their records. This diary, these things that you've been writing, are part of those records, and it's so important to remember that for so many different reasons. I remember when I first started fostering, and I would kind of write things like, oh, all okay today, all settled, like just things like that, and I cringe when I think about it now. I think maybe there should be more training initially when you become a foster carer on how to do daily diaries, but I cringe when I think about that, because like, that's all I wrote for that day. What, like, did nothing else happen in that day? I literally just write all settled. I kind of used it as a thing that I would only write about problems or any issues that we're in, and that just, you know, that just isn't the case whatsoever. The daily diary is just a quick few sentence sort of snapshot of the day. There could be certain things that you're asked to include, and, you know, maybe sort of what they're eating or certain things, but it's a snapshot of that day. Write little things of something maybe that they've done in school that they enjoyed, or just, I mean, you don't want them to be too long, but you want to put a little snapshot of that day, because when a child, as an adult, when this adult is looking back at these records as a child, it would be lovely that they had these sort of like little moments that are written down, like little things that you've done. I've just glanced over there, and then I've got some conkers on the side. Maybe you go conker picking with them, like write that in the daily diary. Just it doesn't all have to be just about any problems or issues that are happening. In fact, it shouldn't be all about that. And I think learning to write daily diaries well is definitely a skill, and I think possibly that, like I said, there possibly should be more training on that. The next one is something, to be honest, I'm not sure I tick this box. This is not something I'm very good at in life generally, and as a foster carer I am not. But when you start your journey as a foster carer, or even, you know, if you are a foster carer already, it's really important to seek out buddies, friends within kind of foster care, other foster carers, because it's something that I don't do well. I really don't. But you know, depending on where you are in your journey, or it doesn't really matter, but you don't know everything. I tend to have a bit of this attitude that I think I do know everything. I'll just let you into that little bit of a secret. If you have conversations with foster carers, that they will just say something. There'll be little nuggets of information that you can pull from to help you become a better foster carer, or maybe you will then face that sort of a similar situation in the future, and your mind will cast back to, oh, this foster carer did this, or maybe you've got their number, you can contact them. And it's important to have allies, I guess, or friends, buddies within the foster care system, because it can be really lonely. It's something that if you've not been a foster carer, I mean, I guess with everything, if you've not been a foster carer, you don't really understand it, you don't know what it's about, and other people don't necessarily understand the challenges of it. And so if you've got foster carer buddies, it will make it that little bit easier, I think. The next habit or thing that makes a great foster carer, I think, is something we talk about all the time in fostering, is empathy. How important it is for us to have empathy and share empathy. But I want to say something maybe a little bit controversial, in that there can be possibly such a thing as too much empathy. If you've been around my channel for a while, you will have seen my videos, potentially. I will link some of them maybe down below, or the playlist. I'll link the playlist up above of my end of placements. And in all of them, like, I'm crying, I get emotional. I think we should be emotional, and that's the right thing. It's a hard thing to be doing, and we need empathy. But I think that there's a line, and I think that this is something that I feel like I personally am good at as a foster carer, is that I show empathy. I am empathetic towards these situations, and yet there's something you have to protect yourself and to protect your own heart. You have to just hold something back, otherwise I don't think you will last as a foster carer. I've heard of lots of people quit fostering because it just got too much for them. The emotions, they just couldn't deal with it. And you know, they talk about how a child leaves and they cry for days and days, and they just can't cope with them leaving. And that's troublesome to me, that I feel like you've given just that little bit too much of yourself. And absolutely, you know, these children deserve us to give everything to them. Well, no, not everything, just not quite everything. You have to keep a little bit back for you. And I say it all the time on my videos that, you know, when a child leaves, a little piece of my heart, you see, I get emotional just even talk about it, but a little piece of my heart goes with them when they leave, and a little bit of my heart just breaks when they leave. But that is okay. I can rebuild myself, but that's always something that's happened. That's how I view it, and I am a changed person because I've cared for them for that amount of time. And there's a line between just being so deep into it where you're not protecting your own heart. You just really have to protect your own heart in all of this, because it's so emotional. We talk about so many traumas and so many terrible things that are going on, and you just have to protect yourself a little bit from it, I think. The next thing that I reckon makes a great foster carer, or actually I guess the next two things, but I'll talk about the last one, the second one, a bit later, but they kind of go together, is to consider the placement beginning and then to consider the placement end. We'll talk about the end in a minute, but consider the placement beginning. It's really important to get your head around the beginning of the placement when the children first arrive. There's some real sort of basic things of, you know, make sure, I mean, I say they're basic, maybe they're not, but you know, make sure that your house is clean, tidy, clean toilets, fresh bedding on beds, you know, just general clean house type things. It's warm and welcoming and inviting is the first kind of thing. When they're coming, if you have got any knowledge on them whatsoever in terms of what they like, you know, even if you haven't, say like, if I generally take younger children, and so I kind of just think I keep toys here, and so I think, right, I've got a 2-year-old, I'll just get some toys out that a 2-year-old might like. Maybe they don't like them, but I just get something out so that there's, you know, it's welcoming to a 2-year-old that there's, you know, some toys laid out on the floor. Not too overwhelming though, that's another thing, like don't put too much out, but like I'll get a box and I'll put some different little bits around. I'll lay like a nice colourful mat out, so it just looks appealing to a young child. When you first meet the children, like I think that how you feel is like this grown up in this, I think how the child feels in this. Like we sort of feel nervous and weird and scared and apprehensive with these new children coming into our homes. Imagine the feelings that the children have, like I just can't. And so, you know, it's what you're warm, welcome, you're smiley, you get down to their level, you know, you say hello, my name, you know, you just, I think it's a natural thing that most of us do, but just to make sure that, you know, that is what you are doing when you first meet the children. A tour, oh my goodness, a tour is something that I don't know why I didn't used to do it, and obviously it's age dependent. When you have little ones, you're not going to do that necessarily quite as much, but even with younger children, you do give a little tour. It's important to give a little tour of, you know, where the bathroom is, where the kitchen is, and as I sort of do a tour, there's certain, you drop in almost like little rules of the house as you do it, not in this like strict kind of way, but like definitely, like say when we go upstairs and you're showing them bedrooms and things, we talk about, oh, this is my son's bedroom, if you want to go in his room, yeah, you know, give a knock, because the rule when we have children, it's, you know, you got to knock on bedrooms to enter them. And I will say, when, you know, this is your bedroom, same again, if someone wants to enter your bedroom, we'll knock on your door. And so little things like that, where you're giving the tour and just throwing in a few little sort of house rules, I think is a good thing. You know, some food, depending on when they come, kids come at all times of the day and night, let's be honest. Maybe invariably I found that they probably haven't eaten very well for the last day or whatever. Maybe just stick some pizzas in the oven, anything that you can think of that will just help to settle them, because whoa, are they going through some things right now. And I think allow the child to lead is one of the important things, that they will generally sort of let you know how they're feeling, that they maybe, particularly maybe, you know, with older children, maybe they don't want this kind of fanfare, as it were. They don't want this big thing. Maybe they just want to come in and go and sit in their bedroom. That's okay. Obviously, as the foster care, it's important for you to sort of check on them, but it's not your place to, you know, try to drag them down that first night. And I obviously don't mean literally drag them down, but you know, you can be encouraging and you can try, oh, you want to come downstairs and have some pizza or something. You can do that encouragement, but you've got to take the lead from them. If they really just want to close that bedroom door and just be in there, you've got to allow that. So yeah, definitely considering how the placement starts is a really important thing as a foster carer. And then, as I said, to move on from that, consider how the placements end. There's obviously a hell of a lot that goes on in between, and that could be a very different amount of time between the beginning and the end, but considering how the placement ends and a positive experience of the placement end is so important as a foster carer, that you kind of celebrate this time. That yes, there's sadness. I've talked before in many videos, again when I've talked about placement endings and things, I've talked that I have shared my emotions with slightly older children, and I've been sad with older children and been upset and cried with them and explained my thoughts on it and how I'll miss them. But I also think that it's so important to be positive about it, that we've shared this time together, that, you know, we've lived together in this house, you were part of my family for this time, and now you are moving on to, you know, to wherever it is that they're moving. Maybe they're going back home, maybe it's a job, maybe, you know, wherever it is, it doesn't really matter. But we want to celebrate this time that we've had together, and this is the end. I can be part of your life if you want me to, but this is the end of this particular chapter, and we can celebrate that time. Even we can have the mixed emotions on that time, you know. We can be sad, but we can be happy, and we can be all of these different emotions and anxious about what's going to happen. But we want to celebrate it. Let's have a special, we always have like a special like a takeaway or an evening where we can just sit together and chat, and we talk about, if the children are old enough, even if they're not old enough, you still have that sort of celebration kind of last dinner, and bring in other members. Maybe if other members of your family have been particularly involved with the children, bring them in and get them involved in this sort of celebration last dinner. I think those things are really important. I think it shows the children, you know, that they were loved, or they are loved still, but you know, whilst they were here, they were loved, they were cared for by all these people that sort of want to come and say bye and close this chapter. And I think that does wonders for the child. I can't talk about placement ends without just saying about the whole, I don't think this happens. I mean, if it does, like, I don't think it happens anymore. If it does, this is just shocking. But obviously when you are packing up the children's things, you may have seen me do it many, many times, but you're packing up the children's things. Their things are respected. Their belongings aren't just tossed into, you know, bin bags and things, and that's how they leave. That they're packed. You know, clothes are folded and ironed. Oh, actually, confession, I don't iron any clothes. I don't think. Do I iron anything? I don't think I can. No, I don't iron anything. Occasionally, but you know, their clothes are folded, and you know that they go in a suitcase or whatever it may be. That they're not just, these are these kids' possessions, and you have to be respectful of that. And I think that concludes my 5 habits of a great foster carer. If you have any more, let me know down below in the comments. I'm sure there are so many more different things that make us great foster carers. But thank you so much for being here with me today. Like this video, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.